to see that change. I would love to see a place where someone's open minded to treat us. It's in California because I had to go out of state for my diagnosis. When I went to I will say an unnamed treatment center to help me with my eye, and I told them, look, I'm losing my mind right now. I'm scared. My levels are going to be high because that affects my levels.
Yeah.
It was overlooked. And when they told me that my test levels came back high, I couldn't believe that they didn't hear that part of my advocacy.
Yeah.
Right? Because I went there and I spoke for myself. And I'll say this, that when other people spoke for me is when things got done a little bit easier with all the education that I got with, helping with the female factor and meeting all the women that were saying me too. And
well, I mean, it's almost like they don't want to hear it coming out of our own mouths. Like, because us saying it isn't enough. It's somebody else in our life actually saying it and recognizing, like, yeah, it is this bad, for them to actually be like, oh, well, then maybe we should do something.
A doctor, I would have someone come with me, and the doctor would have a conversation with that person right in front of me about
I'm the same exact way.
But so you need a really good advocate and a person that you trust to be there with you, because the times that I went in by myself and I was treated bad, there was no witness to say I just came out crying or I was upset and
exactly,
why is this happening to you? What are you doing in there? Why maybe it's you because you keep getting the same reactions. Maybe you need to go in there with a different approach. Okay, fine. I was willing to take any kind of constructive criticism to help me get, heard. And it went through deaf ears. And when someone that I trusted came with me and spoke for me, and I got things done, taken care of a lot faster.
Well, and I think one of the big things too, moving, I had to switch, back to a HTC or hematology person or whatever. And it was like getting that factor prescription back was one of the hardest struggles in my life.
So you have a diagnosis. Yay!
Yeah.
But then where are you going to get your prescription filled for factor if the people that didn't help you get the diagnosis aren't open-minded to treating you like the men in your life? My son got it for me.
I spent this last weekend with two little boys. Well, one's little, one's not. A little boy and a teenager. And both of them had higher factor levels than me. And both of them had factor in the refrigerator.
Thank you. HTCs, you take very good care of the men in our community. They didn't see that kind of care before. I witnessed that. I witnessed the struggles my dad had, my family members had with their sons. I saw that. So I know how it's changed, and it's gotten so much better for them. And, you hear of the changing of the guards and people are retiring. And some of these kids in the community that go to camp and they hear our stories, I just hope that it sparks one of them to, come back and take care of us the way that, the men have been taking care of their whole life. Right? Can you imagine if we had, our own treatment center that the women with bleeding disorders can go to and not have to fight and just be taken care of and taken seriously and understood that as a woman, you have to be handled differently.
Totally different than being a guy.
Instead of just,
and
your levels have to be under 50.
Even when we have bleeds, our bleeds are different than the guys' bleeds.
I bleed once a month, heavily, and it's I can calculate. You can mark it down. I'll predict when the next one is coming, and since I'm 13 years old, you every month for almost 30, 40 years. And my son is talking about not experiencing bleed in years. Years.
Oh, yeah.
Because he's had prophy.
The little boy that I was with this weekend, when I told him that, I was having to take factor because, driving for 8.5 hours, I messed my knee. The whole thing was huge and swollen, and it was just jacked up. And
I can't wait to get my
like
medical
when I
alert.
said the word bleed, he didn't know what I was talking about because he had never had one. And he's 8. He's never had a bleed.
Thank you, HTCs. You take very good
Right?
care of
Of
the
our
men in
men.
the community. Thank you so much. They get amazing care. And the quality of life has gotten so better. I now have permanent damage, and I now know that Factor feels like Factor feels amazing. Factor feels amazing, and no, you're not. You know, you're not 35 years old, and you're just getting old. No, that's not. You're not. It's hemophilia, and it affects women the same way that it affects the men.
Yeah, except for
We're having micro bleeds in our joints just as much as
they are.
they are. And for these women that go untreated, I went untreated for so many years.
Yeah, I had 17 years and no factor.
I had a blood transfusion when I was 22 years old after a
Yeah.
miscarriage because I could have died from just my body rejecting a pregnancy, and nobody would have known better and how to fight for my
See,
life.
my HCC up in Oregon, when I had my miscarriage, they had me on factor for 4 weeks straight every day. I took factor every day for 4 weeks straight because I was bleeding that bad.
But then there's that double-edged sword, because if I was diagnosed at birth when my dad, said I'm a hemo, she's gonna be. My dad knew that because that's their education. If I would have gotten diagnosed at birth or sooner, my dad would have been treating me with the
Same factor they
tainted
gave him HIV.
medication, and I wouldn't be here today with my own kids. I'm here
Yeah.
without him, but I have 3 amazing men, but I wouldn't be here. It's it's sad because I wish that I didn't have to experience all those bloody noses, all those horrible periods, and that I would have had the factor younger. But I am okay that I'm okay. I still can put my feet on the ground, and I
Yeah.
can walk around, and it hurts, but I'd rather. I mean, so
Yeah.
I what so what how upset can I really be? Like my life was spared,
Yeah.
pretty much, not having been exposed to it for so long. I have the joint damage, but I'm okay with that because
Because you have factor now.
I have factor now, and it feels great. It feels better than any. I can't even compare it. I don't know what to compare it to. I don't want to compare it to a drug, a street drug or a pharmaceutical drug. It's not fair. It's
No.
it's not it's not how good it doesn't compare. No, it feels way better than any man made
It's just
or
all the
God
weird little
plant.
crazy pains like you've been feeling for the last few weeks or few months or few years. Like you take one dose of factor and you're like, dude, why is my hip not actually hurt right now? Oh, dude, I took factor. That's why. You know? Or like calling you and being like, dude, like this is all swollen and this is all swollen and this is hurting. I don't know what's going on. And you're like, dude, just take a factor. You know it's gonna work. You know it's gonna help you. Just take some factor.
The other day when I was treating, and it took me like 6 times to poke my arm, I wanted to cry and give up,
It
and I
took me 3.
don't want to ask my son to always. He doesn't want to ask me to. He's
Yeah.
16 years old. He doesn't want to ask Mom. I can't do it. I don't want to do it either. I want to do it
Yeah.
myself too. But if I had somebody I can call that was closer, like the men are, they're close. There's a lot of them. They're together, but there's not a lot of moms that are like going through. And that's, I almost lost my mind going through it, because being a mom of a hemophiliac is one different kind of struggle, but then the struggle I had getting my factor and getting my like, that was a whole other kind of
Yeah. Totally
struggle that
opposite.
a
Different
lot of
struggle.
women in the community aren't going through, and so there's not a lot that can say, yeah. And the ones that you do find, they're so far.
I know.
They're so far. We only see them at at
At
the
female factor events.
female factor events, at the national events.
Events, yeah.
So